Joining me now is Thomas Gehl. He's the president of Amble International Capital Corporation and an environmental advisor to former U.S. President Bill Clinton. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thomas, why no joint communique? Is that significant? And does it mean that these G20 countries are slightly less committed than they've been in the past?
I think that it is significant. Obviously, this is one of the largest problems in the world next to Ukraine. And I think that it would have behooved the G20 to be able to have a very decisive ruling on it, specifically because of all of the substantial impacts we're seeing. China has seen substantial high temperatures. Shanghai has had, 38 to 42 degree temperatures coming up. The United States is going to be caught in a heat wave that's unprecedented on the western coast coming up this next week, for the next 2 weeks. So obviously this is a huge problem that needs to be dealt with immediately.
Yeah, I would think that the extreme weather that all of these countries have been experiencing for months now would add some urgency to this meeting, especially looking ahead to winter with Ukraine and EU energy concerns. What do you think will move the needle as the G20 leaders meeting comes up here in a couple of months, and also COP27?
Well, I think that, the government interaction is very, very important. But as we can see in the United States right now and in Europe, it is the private companies or the public companies who have been creating more change than just about any other segment. It is required now for an international business to do their environmental report every year and to show their progress on what's going on. The private public sector needs to be responsive on that. Consumers need to help to force these companies to be more responsible on their sustainability actions, and that can happen. So the government is important, but really I think they're secondary to the people who are actually creating the issues associated with it.
Well, the U.S. and China, the world's two biggest emitters, they've agreed to work together on climate in the past, but given current relations, is that pledge to work toward this common goal in jeopardy?
Well, unfortunately, I think that we do have a short hiatus on that because of all the other political factors that are going on. I believe, though, each country is committed to moving forward in their own way. President Xi has been very dedicated to it over the past 10 years. President Biden, fortunately, is very committed to environmental activism as well. So I think, our leaders understand the issues and are moving towards that. More cooperation would be better, but I hope that in the interim we don't have any backsliding, because this is so critical. And we're seeing so many, dramatic impacts right now around the world, as you said.
Thomas, you mentioned the other countries. The G20 accounts for 75% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Which countries are on track to meet their goals? Who's doing a good job so far? Is some of the geopolitics putting some of that on hold?
I think that it is to a certain extent. I mean, we have seen. Fortunately, the United States actually peaked their greenhouse gas emissions in 2008 and have been declining at about 1.5% a year since then. China has slowed, but unfortunately, China still has a commitment to adding more coal generating facilities between now and 2030 than the entire coal burning electric grid in the United States, 3 times more than Germany. So I think that is a major area that we can see some, hopefully, advance on. China is emitting about 10,000 metric tons compared to the United States at about 5, India at about 3. So we need to, each of these countries need to find a way to look at a 10%, 15% reduction to be able to keep our Paris Accord of not increasing global temperatures by 2 degrees, which we're coming precariously close to.
All right, Thomas Gehl, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.